of God and to minister and expose from the living scriptures which can transform our lives and which can edify us and which can strengthen us in this very evening. I really give all the glory and honor to my God who is sustaining my life, and secondly, I thank the concerned person who gave me this opportunity, and thirdly, I greet you all in the matchless name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Before I go into the scripture, let us go down our heads and let us look on together and have a short word of prayer. Gracious Lord, Heavenly Father, we come to Thy presence, O Lord Father. Father, I am your vessel, fill me with your Spirit, O Lord. Speak to them what you want to, Father. Speak in this very evening, O God. We submit this time into your hands and myself into your hands. We all of our minds and hearts together. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I would like to share a short story that once a person or a minister of God is traveling through ship from one place to another in a sea. During that time, there was a huge hailstorm, or there was a huge storm which tossed the ship to other land, and all that, everything broken and the ship is bridged. So at that time, the man of God, when everyone says that we are going to die, the man of God said, "No, surely my Lord is going to lead me and is going to make me stand in front of the great people, and surely he is going to sustain my life." In the middle of that a great storm also, he had a great boldness, and that man is none other than Apostle Paul. He had a great boldness to preach the word of God, and he has a great trust and faith in the Lord who called him to preach the word of God. So, today evening, I would like to take an example from the scripture, or a small portion from the scripture. I would like to speak about boldness of a man of God named Jeremiah from the Old Testament. So please turn your Bible along with me to Jeremiah chapter 26, verse 10 to 15. But due to lack of time, I would like to request you to please read verse 11. Jeremiah chapter 26, verse 11.
The priests and the prophets spoke to the princes and all the people, saying, "This man deserves to die, for he has prophesied against this city, as you have heard with your ears."
Yes, thank you, brother. Here we can see there is something being declared against Jeremiah. So based on this text, or based on this portion of the text, I would like to entitle my sermon as "Be Bold in the Brutal World." My title is "Be Bold in the Brutal World." So before I go deep into the sermon, let me put a brief background about Jeremiah. Jeremiah is a prophet who preached to the people of Judah for almost 40 years, and preaching to them about their wickedness, all the stiff-necked people, always preaching them that there is a great doom or there is a great judgment coming upon them for 40 years continuously. And we also know that Jeremiah is a weeping prophet, or heartbroken prophet, we will say, because of several examples that he being rejected by his own people, being kept in the dungeon, being kept in the prison, being persecuted, being rejected by the priests and everyone. Always Jeremiah, all through his ministry, he's always struggling, and that's why we call him a weeping prophet. So, here Jeremiah, when we look at this specific portion of the text, when we look at this background, here when we look at the previous text, or the previous verses of this chapter, we know that Jeremiah is pronouncing Jeremiah is pronouncing a prophecy against Judah, that there is going to come a great judgment, and your city is going to be like Shiloh. From 26:6 we can see that your city, God revealed to him that this city is going to be like Shiloh, and it will be deserted like Shiloh. So, when he pronounced this prophecy, there came a great opposition against him. There came a great opposition against him from the priests, from the kings, from all the prophets who were at that time in the land of Judah. When we look at verse 8 and verse 9, we can see that all the people came and they seized Jeremiah. They said that there is only death. They said the judgment should be death against you, because you are pronouncing such kind of prophecy against this. So in this context, or in this time, when we look at specific from verse 10 to 15, we can see the boldness of Jeremiah. How he was bold, but how Jeremiah stood on the side of God to preach what God had revealed to him, despite of all the conditions around him. So, this evening I want to speak to you, especially people who are going to graduate. I want to speak to you. God gave me this message that what kind of boldness we should have, or what we should be bold, or what boldness we should have in this world. What is the practical boldness we should have in this world? So when we go deep into the scripture, or when we expose the scripture from verse 11, we can see the first thing that, and the priests and the prophets spoke to the princes and all the people, saying, this man deserves to die, for he has prophesied against this city, as you have heard with your ears. So the first thing is that, be bold against false witnesses. Be bold against false witnesses. When we see Jeremiah, the people who are opposing Jeremiah is that not normal people, or not the people who are in that city, but we can clearly see that the priests and the prophets themselves, priests and prophets who are on the same ground along with Jeremiah, who should stand on the side of God and to proclaim what God is revealing to them, to the people. Instead of that, they are otherwise standing against Jeremiah and saying that this man should die because he is saying such things against our city. Such kind of world which we live right now, when we look into this practical world, we can see that the people or the theologians who are supposed to stand on the side of God and proclaim the true gospel to multitude of people, what they are doing is they are turning aside to the man of God, they turn against the man of God, and they are saying that he is not good in this conduct. He is not good in this theology. His theology is not good. This thing is not good. Such kind of world we are living. The first thing, we should be bold enough in this world, or in this contemporary world, to preach the living word of God, or to preach the pure theology to the people, is to stand against the false witnesses. When you stand, as Jeremiah stood up, they went to the princes. The princes are the one who will judge everything. What is right, what is wrong. They are bringing false accusations against Jeremiah and saying that he is pronouncing bad against the city, so he should die. They are pronouncing false witness or false accusations against Jeremiah. So, when we stand in the ministry of God and we are faithful unto the ministry of God, when we proclaim perfectly what is in the word of God, there will be opposition. They will come against all the people and they will say that you are bad, and only thing is that you should be judged and you should be terminated from this ministry. So my dear brothers, in this very evening I want to say that stand bold enough, because when we see in the New Testament, even Jesus is rejected by his own people. Not the other people will reject us. The own people will reject us. Even Jesus is rejected by his own people, and when we look at Luke chapter 4:29, they want to push him from the cliff, and they want to kill him. Even Jesus faced persecution from his own people. So who are I? Who are we? We also should be ready to face this persecution. When we look at Paul, Apostle Paul also faced persecution from the same people who should stand on the face of God and preach the word. They turned against Paul, and even Corinthian church, we can see that many people say that Apostle Paul is not an apostle. He is not one among the apostles. So everyone who is faithful under the ministry, they will receive the opposition. But now, even not only that, by the way, we will face sometimes that accusations will come from ourselves only. Sometimes we will say that you are not good in this, you are not good in that, you are not good in this. Our own self-conscience will say that you are not good enough. But remember, my dear brothers, Philippians 4:9 says, we can do all things to Christ. Hallelujah. So be bold enough. Even accusations come from your own self, you should stand on the page of God and you should proclaim what God says. I'm getting ahead of myself. And the second thing is that when we look at the following verse number 12, then Jeremiah spoke to all the princes and all the people, saying, the Lord sent me to prophesy against this house and against this city with all the words that you have heard. See, the main thing is that the Lord sent me to prophesy. The second thing is that the boldness of Jeremiah is not based on his own effort, is not based on his own message, but the boldness of Jeremiah is based on the Lord himself. He said, the Lord sent me. I am not the one who came by myself here to proclaim these all things, this doom against your city. But the Lord sent me. He was aware that he was ordained. He was aware that God called him for his ministry. That is the source of his boldness. The Lord himself is the reason for our boldness. The second point I want to give is that the Lord himself is the reason for our boldness. He says that even the great mob came and they are saying that you should die. But still he is saying that Lord sent me. But still, here it clearly says that. Then Jeremiah spoke. Still he is speaking the message which God had given to all the people. He says, what you have heard, I am saying and I received from the God, and surely you should change your ways. As a New Testament preachers, we are also are ordained, or we are also commissioned by our Lord Jesus Christ, that we should proclaim the gospel. That's what apostles did. That's what we ought to do in this world, in this modern world. There are still people yet to be saved. We should speak whatever accusations or whatever situations we are facing. Still, we should speak the true gospel. Still, we should go ahead of ourselves, and still we should look onto the new missionary grounds, and still we should preach. Because remember one thing: the one who sent us is not the man, but Lord himself, the Almighty God himself. So he said, go and preach. So what we want to do is that go and preach. Romans says, Paul in Romans 1:8 says, this gospel is the power unto the one who believes. And this is the gospel. 1 Corinthians 15:1-5 says, this is the gospel which reveals Jesus Christ, his life, his death, his resurrection, and his ascension. This gospel we ought to preach so that people will turn away from their ways. Because we can see God himself says to Jeremiah from verse 26-23, I'm reading. And Lord, it says, thus says the Lord, stand in the court of the Lord's house and speak to all the cities of Judah, which come to worship in Lord's house, all the words that I command you to speak to them. Do not diminish a word. So whatever we are receiving from God, whatever gospel or whatever being taught here by teachers or lecturers, we should not diminish a word, but we ought to speak perfectly. And whatever message we receive from Lord, we have to speak perfectly in spite of all the conditions around us. So be bold enough, because Lord is our strength, and Lord is going ahead of us, and He purchased with a heavy price. So He's going to be the strength of us. So that be bold enough to preach the gospel to people. And the third point here is that when we look at verse 14, as for me, here I am in your hand. Do with me as seems good and proper to you. Here, verse 14 clearly says, Jeremiah is saying that here I am. And the third point I want to give you is that be bold enough, even if it costs everything. Even if it costs everything, be bold enough. The third point is that here Jeremiah is saying, here I am. I'm here. Whatever you want to do with me, do. But still, I will do the ministry of God. Here I am. Whatever you want me to do. Even if it costs him life, still he is not worried about it. He says, here I am, Lord. Here I am. What you want to do? He's saying to the princess, if you want to kill me, go ahead. But still, I will stand and preach the word of God. When you look at the present commissions, BJP is against all the Christian people, RSS is against us, everything is against us. You may lose our life, but I am not saying that we should be ready and always we will lose our life. But God also promised, even the gates of hate shall not prevail against the church. Even if we die, remember the blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church. So we should be ready. Whatever we may lose, even our own family, even our own friends, even everything we lose, still we have to say, here I am. I will preach the word of God, which I received from the Lord, because He commissioned me, He has sent me. So in this very evening, be prepared. As the graduate students, we are going outside. So be prepared and be bold enough in this brutal world. The world is after you. The world is about to accuse you. The world is about to oppose you whatever you speak. But still, Lord is on your side, because He gave you this authority. He gave you this message. He gave you this gospel. We are the one entrusted. We are the one privileged to carry this gospel, this torch to multitude of people in darkness. So be bold because Lord is on your side, and even if it costs everything. Remember, one day when we meet Jesus in heaven, you are going to receive unexpectedly or undoubtedly the reward which you have done in this world. So in this very evening, let us receive boldness from God and let us prepare our hearts to minister to God with boldness. As Jeremiah did, even it cost him his life. He says, I will stand on the side of Lord and I will never compromise with my message. So in this very evening, let us bow down our heads, let us reflect on this word, and let us prepare ourselves and to preach the word of God with complete boldness.